Most people that name businesses after themselves drives me nuts. When I first put the business plan together, I had one friend who just said, "You're missing the essence of this. Like, you're a third-generation lobsterman. Your father is like the OG of lobster processing and has this incredible reputation in the state."
This is Luke Holden, third-generation lobsterman, co-founder and CEO of a highly successful company he tried really hard not to name after himself. And this is Ben.
I found Ben over Craigslist, of all places. We got together, and like very quickly you could tell that Ben was smarter than I was, that I am. He had a passion for food, and he had a desire to get out of like writing about food and bringing food to life.
Walking down this pier, it's the way you want to start your day for sure. Just like that connection to the fresh air, to the salt water, to nature. And it's why fishermen love to fish. It's the ability to get out there and, really be a hunter-gatherer and kind of commune with nature as they're, sustainably, responsibly pulling from this natural resource in a way that sustains them and their family, and that, of course, they plan to do that for generations.
Starting in 2009 with a single lobster shack, Luke and Ben have built a sustainable lobster empire, family style from dock to plate, with locations in 10 U.S. states, Japan, and Singapore. In 2019, Whole Foods named Luke's Lobster their Global Supplier of the Year.
There's no way at Luke's for us to separate the success that comes from making a profit at the end of the day from the success that involves the people and the environment that we touch. If we're not doing right by the people that work for Luke's, the people that supply Luke's, the fishermen, everybody in the supply chain, and we're not ultimately working to make the environment better, then we're not a successful business. It really doesn't matter how much money anyone makes if they're not giving back in a socially and environmentally responsible way.
My name is Josh Miller, and I am a commercial fisherman here in Tennant's Harbor, Maine. I would guess that after my father had been lobstering for 20 years, not much had changed. But what I've seen in my first 20 years of doing it is things are changing so fast, almost year to year.
Climate change it's not a political issue for us at all. The oceans are warming, ocean acidification is happening, and quite honestly, you can see it in how the landings happen each and every year. Landings, I'm talking about the harvest.
When I was younger, a lot of guys would take out for the whole winter, not set traps till July, fish July through October, November, and pick their traps up again. Now you have a lot more guys fishing 12 months a year. Of course, guys are going further too.
It's here, and we got to deal with it. And if we don't face head on, we're going to be reactionary for how we manage fisheries from here till the end of time.
It's definitely going to look different.
The Maine lobster industry has been a leader in kind of sustainable harvesting practices. We can go out and take the lead in climate change work as well. We're taking that momentum that we've built, and we're going out to these wharves and trying to help fishermen reduce their carbon footprint to reduce the footprint of the overall industry.
To do this, Luke's Lobster partners with the Island Institute. So we called them up and found this guy, Sam. Sam is a third-generation lobsterman who grew up fishing with his grandfather and father. He left Maine to explore the world, and then he came back to help make it better. Now, he leads the Island Institute's marine economy programs and the climate and energy work they do.
As a result of the near collapse 100 years ago, we saw fishermen working with scientists to develop some of the conservation measures that led to the success that we see today.
In the 1920s, New England lobstermen were in deep trouble. Harvests to feed the canning industry had ransacked the fishery, demand outpacing supply. So fishermen rallied to create sustainable regulations, protecting the livelihood they understood better than any scientist, lobbyist, or industry expert. To this day, size regulations and V-notching sustainably reduce the catch of female lobster to make sure they go back in the ocean where they can reproduce and build a healthy population for generations.
And now we're seeing collaborations between fishermen, between buyers and distributors and restaurant owners, tapping into the change that we're seeing right now and starting to figure out how we can be, as a state and as a fishery, more environmentally sustainable, more socially sustainable, all while doing it in a way that makes good business sense and provides better livelihoods for these communities. That gets some of the best seafood in the world out to more of the country and more money coming back into these coastal communities in a time when they really need it.
Okay, so you guys just had lunch at Luke's. Again? Two times in how many days?
4 days. In 4 days. We came from Ohio, second time here.
So this is a lobster roll, and to us that is a very specific meaning. A lobster roll only exists to show off beautiful lobster. A lot of people, the lobster roll is, they start with lobster that's not that great. Either they overcooked it or they froze it poorly, they thawed it, so then they cut it and they cover it up with mayonnaise and onions and celery and stuff. That's not a lobster roll. A lobster roll exists to let the sweetness, the tenderness of that lobster meat shine. So you start with the traditional New England style bun, which once you toast it, it's a little buttery, a little crispy, but it's barely there. Then just a tiny bit of mayo on the inside, tiny bit of lemon butter on top, a little dusting of a seasoning mixture. All of that is just to accentuate the flavor in the lobster, never ever to cover it up. So when you take that bite, what you have is the essence of that perfect lobster, you know, as it came out of that ocean, preserved with excruciating detail through every bit of the process that it takes to get from the ocean.
That is pure elemental goodness. Has your dad seen what you've done, and what does he think of it?
So Dad's also over my right shoulder. He's in the buy station. He's unloading boats and handling lobsters, and part of every day of what we do. You know, Dad's super proud of what we've come to accomplish. You know, he's lobsterman turned lobster dealer, turned the very first lobster licensed processor here in the state of Maine. He's been there with our whole team since day one. Everything from advisor to buying lobsters, and I think he loves that role. You know, and we're very grateful to have learned from him, and then to have built a business that we ultimately get to work with him every day.
So do you find hope in this work? I mean, is there hope for the future?
Yes, we are 100% control of our destiny. Like I'm not a fatalist by any means, and this industry is very healthy. And there's just incremental things that we can do to have a positive impact on the future. And like that's how change happens. You don't get a chance to just turn a page. You literally have to go line by line, and that's why this industry is so phenomenal. These fishermen are the original sustainability officers. There's so much heritage and pride that exists in this industry, and all of them want to leave it a little bit better than they found it, because it's their sons and daughters in many cases that are going to be benefiting from this fishery tomorrow, and they know that. That's how they live. And so it's just about finding the solutions and the incremental steps, and then putting them to work and celebrating those wins. And that's how change happens, and we get a chance to play a significant role in that.